Hey, it's recording, so just aim it on me. How many of you would like to make more money at work? Millions more? How about the $378 million that Apple's CEO Tim Cook made in 2011? I'd even take his $900,000 base pay without stock compensation. But it's okay that he makes that much because he's CEO of Apple. We all go on buying iPhones and iPads. But recently, my mother said something to me. She said, "I won't donate to the Red Cross because the CEO makes $900,000. Wait, what? Why is it okay for Apple's CEO to make millions with a base pay of $900,000, but not charity CEOs? The answer is that we need to rethink charitable giving. Instead of restricting charities, we should be promoting their growth. Charities are businesses. They have revenues, break-even points, investments, and human capital, the same as any business and the same as Apple. And in business, we have a principle called ROI, which is return on investment. Business major or not, you already understand this principle. You've all made an investment in your education. You invest tuition and expenses, money, time, and effort. And you do this for the return. You expect to earn more in your lifetime, having a degree, and to move into desired careers. But you knew that. You had to make the investment to get the return. Well, charities make investments too. They invest in fundraising community events, advertising and marketing, and in the recruitment of human capital. The return is revenue exceeding costs and employees that can maximize the organization's potential and ability to meet its mission and vision goals. But we don't like to let that happen. We say our money isn't going to the cause. We have a reaction that if Apple's CEO wants to make $378 million selling products that contribute to childhood obesity, that's fine. But if a different CEO wants to make 1/4 of that trying to cure cancer, we scowl in disgust. Doing this, according to Dan Pelota in his TED.com speech, "The way we think about charity is dead wrong" in 2013, forces our brightest minds to choose between doing well for themselves or doing good for the world. Who would you choose? Your family or the world? Another investment that charities make is in marketing. Now, charitable giving has been stuck at 2% of the GDP for over 40 years. According to giving statistics published in Charity Navigator, Your Guide to Charitable Giving. As Dan Pelota points out, how can you wrestle for market share when you aren't allowed to market? Like all businesses, charities come in all sizes. But the fact remains that all charities are small organizations going up against huge problems. Diabetes affects 26 million Americans, and according to the American Cancer Society, 14 million Americans have or have had cancer. According to the U.S. Office of Population Affairs, 1 million Americans have AIDS. And according to Feeding America Hunger Facts, 1 in 6 Americans struggle with hunger. How can these small charities go up against huge problems when our views about charities suppress their growth and human capital? And why do our donations fizzle off when we don't find a cure right away? How long should we try to cure cancer before we give up? How long should we try to feed the hungry before we give up? We can't expect these problems to be solved so quickly. When we don't donate, we put charities at risk to close down and to quit trying. Yet we tell ourselves donating once is enough. And we tell ourselves we donate to charity X, so we can't donate to charity Y. We decide we have a certain amount to give charitably, not realizing that we can grow that total by giving up some material purchase. But why would anybody give up purchasing something to donate to a charity? The answer is because we have yet to realize the intrinsic value of donating is something we want. Many of these charities ensure our physiological well-being. If cancer is cured, you will never die from cancer. Donating to charities ensures our safety. We owe our national 911 emergency response system to the imagination and persistence of the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, according to Daniel Rose's Philanthropy versus Charity, America's Third Sector, published in the journal Vital Speeches of the Day. Donating to charity also enhances our sense of belongingness and love. Think about it. Is there any better demonstration of friendship or love than to help one another? Fundraising for community events, like the Avon Walk for Breast Cancer, instills camaraderie and friendship and strengthens family bonds. And donating to charity increases your self-esteem. You get looked up to as a philanthropist, and you earn respect from others while you're giving respect to those that are less fortunate. And lastly, donating to charity fulfills your need for self-actualization. We must help the needy, the weary, and the oppressed to fulfill our sense of morality. We need to rethink charitable giving. The reality is that we use a variety of excuses to suppress charitable growth, and most don't hold up. According to an article titled Top 25 Compensation Packages, published by the American Institute of Philanthropy, the CEO of the American Red Cross does not make $900,000. In fact, the closest 2013 compensation for CEOs of charity organizations to $900,000, that is, was the Girl Scouts. But nobody boycotts buying their tag-along Girl Scout cookies. In reality, we support a near $900,000 CEO compensation package if we get cookies. We scowl if we get brain power to cure cancer. And we admire the CEO of Apple for making 420 times that. We tell ourselves that charitable giving is an option, not an obligation. But we don't realize it's a necessity of morality and our own human needs. We give investments and salaries a demoralizing label of overhead. Let me explain this. According to Bowman Woods in Should Donors Care About Overhead Costs? Do They Care? Published in the Nonprofit and Voluntary Sector Quarterly Journal in 2006, statistical tests give evidence of an inverse relationship between changes in overhead ratios and changes in giving. It's wrong. According to activist Dan Pelota, too many nonprofits are rewarded for how little they spend, not for what they get done. It equates frugality with morality. In his words, our generation does not want its epitaph to read, "We kept charity overhead low." We want it to read that we changed the world, and part of the way we did that was by changing the way we think about these things. Thank you. You're fine, I'm gonna cut it out.